What's up, everyone? You're listening to Confessions of a Gym Rat, getting you through the 9 to 5 as healthily and happily as possible. I'm recording this on the Thursday before Christmas, so Christmas has obviously not yet happened, but since this will be coming out and Christmas will have already happened, I hope you had a great holiday. Hanukkah was also last week too, so happy Hanukkah to those celebrating and all that holly jolly goodness. If you are watching on YouTube, you might notice that the camera quality is a lot better, and that's because I decided to invest in a new camera. So what I was using before was I had a video camera, like one that you would literally like hold in your right hand, like a miniature version of what your dad used to record your home videos on when you were like 3. And it was okay. It got the job done. It got my first 2 episodes up on YouTube, but let's be real. The quality was pretty blurry. So I was like, you know what? This is going to be an investment. I might as well put the money into it since this is something I'm going to be doing every week. So for anyone that's curious, if you're looking for a new camera, I'm using the Sony ZV-1, I believe. I had asked my friend who's a photographer and videographer and all that what I should get since I'm not going to be doing anything like super crazy. And he sent me, there was actually like a bundle deal. So it was like $500, almost $600, but it came with a like cleaning case and like all that equipment. Came with an extra memory card, a rechargeable battery, a whole bunch of fun little gadgets. So I'm very excited to play around, and now you guys can really see me in high definition. Which, speaking of, that kind of segues me into what I wanted to talk about next. So if you listened to last week's episode, my interview with Kristen Tanzer, at the end, she suggested like one of the things that she was obsessed with or is obsessed with currently is the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. That's what it is. I've been saying that name so many times this week. And it's not a fun one to say, especially when you're like trying to be serious and you're like, oh, like they're like, what's on your face? And you're like, oh, it's the Lumi Glotion. No, not a fan of the name. But anyway, I picked it up at my local Ulta and tried it out. I had said during the interview, I thought it would be like a good thing for me to wear instead of a full face of makeup to work. Because you guys know I go to the gym after work, and I didn't want I hate when I go to the gym with a full face of makeup on. And obviously, the more I sweat in the gym, it's like a good thing. But with a full face of makeup on, it gets like sweat's coming down your face and it's kind of orangey, and you just feel like all your pores are opening up, but your makeup's like seeping into it. It's a really gross feeling. And if you're someone who wears makeup or has worked out in makeup before, you definitely know what I'm talking about. It's like the same as like on a hot summer day, like when you're going to like a barbecue or something, and you do your makeup and it looks really good, and then you're sitting outside and you just feel like everything start to melt. Oh my God, it's so gross. Anyway, not the point of the story. Part of the story, I did get the lotion, we're just gonna call it that. And I liked it really well. So I just put that on my face. It has like a nice tint and shimmer to it. And what else did I do that day? I just put concealer on because I had a few little blemishes I need to cover up. And that was it. So I just hit my microphone, so I'm very sorry about that audio. But yeah, that was it. I'm a huge fan. Wasn't expensive, and I'll definitely be using that instead of putting foundation on my face every time I go to work. I feel like it's just healthier too. You know, like obviously my skin doesn't break out as much when I'm not wearing makeup as much. So we're going to go with that. I'm also at a point now, like I said last week, where I don't want to not wear makeup to work because, you know, I put on nice outfits and it's like, I like to do my makeup, you know, and I feel better with makeup on. Hand up, I feel better with makeup on. But it takes up my time in the morning. And two, like I said, I don't like having it on for like a full day. So I'm going to be doing this instead. Just wanted to give you guys a little review there and the update on how I tried it out. Okay. I have a lot of things that I wanted to talk about in this intro, and just a lot of things I wanted to talk about in general on today's podcast, but I made a little list. On my phone of the things I wanted to talk about. And the first one, I realized that I missed such a good opportunity to tell this story last week when I was talking about my Secret Santa at work. And I had already recorded everything. I'd filmed like the whole episode. And I was driving to the gym and I was like, God damn it. I missed this perfect story that I could have told. So I'm going to tell it now. And I feel like it would have been funnier last week, more in context, but oh well. So let's get into the story. I mentioned last week that I had my friend Chris for Secret Santa, and he lives in North Carolina, so I had to ship his gift to him anyway, but he's obviously very busy being a new father, so he didn't join us on our little like Zoom hybrid party thing when we opened up our gifts. So I was kind of bummed. I was like, I really want him to open these gifts in person, like in front of my eyes. Just to recap, I got him two things. I got him this very nice portrait of his family, like I said, because he's got a new baby and he's got a dog, so that's a very nice sentimental gift. But Chris is a jokester. He's quite literally now the dad of the group. And I was like, okay, I want to get him something meaningful, yes. But we're not sappy like that to each other, so I have to top it off by giving him something funny. So while I was on Etsy doing my whole search, I typed in like funny gifts for new dads or something, and this mug came up, and I was like, this is perfect. He's going to crack up at this. And it just says DILF, established 2022, because that's when his baby was born. It's a little funny thing. I keep hitting my microphone. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Anyway, it's a little funny thing. So when I had bought it on Etsy, it asked if I wanted to put a custom note in it or anything. And I kind of figured based on the note that they would pack it at the top. And I selected the custom note thing and I wrote, please don't open until Secret Santa. I don't think they attached the note at all. Let's just say that. I don't think they attached the note at all because this note never came up in conversation between the two of us. So I'm sitting next to my friend Tamara and I'm like, oh, I'm really bummed. I wish that Chris was going to be here because I want to see him open his gift. I wonder if he could take a video. So Tamara texts him and was like, your Secret Santa really wants you to take a video of you opening your gift. And he's like, I didn't get anything. And I'm like, oh my God, what do you mean you didn't get anything? Because I had got the UPS notification that everything was delivered. So she's like, really? It should have been two things, like a picture and a mug. And he's like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. And I'm like, what does this mean? So I texted him, I'm like, Chris, it was me. And he was like, yeah, it didn't come with a note or anything. So I just opened them and I was wondering where the mug came from. And I'm sitting here going to myself, so you mean to tell me that you got a package in the mail and you opened it, presumably next to or in close proximity to your wife that just gave birth and is very hormonal, and it's just a mug that says DILF. Dad, I'd like to fuck. And my jaw dropped. I was like, no. I was like, please apologize to Alexandra. It was a joke. It's not serious. And he was like, oh my God, relax. She thought it was hilarious. But couldn't get over, like, wanted to kind of die, one of humiliation and two of laughter, at the fact that a mug just showed up to his house like 2 days after his baby was born with no name and no explanation. And it just says, Dad, I like to fuck. So going forward, if I have someone that I have to mail my Secret Santa gift to, I don't really know how I'm going to like address that. I don't know. I guess I should just put my name on it, like as the return address, so they know. Because when you get your gift, like, you find out who your Secret Santa is anyway. I don't know. Moral of the story, especially if you're going to send something that says DILF on it, make sure there's some sort of context before that package just gets shipped off, because that is highly embarrassing, but funny. I mean, I thought it was funny, whatever. If I had somebody here that was like a co-host, I'm sure she would be laughing, but it's just me. So I hope you guys are laughing. Anyway, so moving on to my list of things I wanted to talk about. You guys might remember a few weeks ago when I really hyped up that I was seeing Take Me Out on Broadway because I wanted to see Jesse Williams. And then me coming back the next week saying, well, guess what? Jesse Williams wasn't there. He wasn't there at all. And I was bummed. But I'm going back. Yes, I am going back to see the show again, to see Jesse Williams. And this time I'm going on a Friday night. I'm literally going tomorrow. And if he's not there, you guys are going to hear me be really angry next week. But my friend had a Broadway gift card that she won at our holiday party last year, and she's home from Chicago for the holidays, so we're going together. She's a really big Grey's Anatomy fan too, and I just really feel like that chapter was not closed in any sort of way for me. Like I said a few episodes ago, it was a phenomenal play, but I didn't get to see Jesse Williams, and I didn't get to see Jesse Tyler Ferguson. I saw none of the people that I paid the money to see. So we're going again, and I'm not going to get my hopes up. I've been having some dreams. That involve this play because I think I'm genuinely anxious about it. Like, I think that it's actually something that's been burning in the back of my mind because I'm nervous that I'm going to show up tomorrow and he's not going to be there, which would make me very upset. So I'm not going to get my hopes up because every time I do get my hopes up, things crash and burn and don't go the way that I want to. So I am going to show up to this theater with the intentions that I'm going to see the same cast that I saw the first time. I'm at a loss of words, honestly. I was thinking about what I just said, and then I was like, you know what? No. If I show up and it's the same cast and Jesse Williams is not there, I think I'm going to walk out and leave my friend and go experience the city and do something else with my time. But anyway, prayers for me, please, that I didn't waste more time, energy, and money for another disappointment. Oh God, that's just story of my life. Anyway, my dad did something very, very nice yesterday that I wanted to share with you guys because I know he's not necessarily going to tell anyone. The way that we were raised as kids was like, you do good things, you do kind things, not because you want recognition and praise and for someone to say, oh, you're such a good person and pat you on the back. You just do them because they're nice things to do. So I know my dad's not going to really ever probably talk about it again because there's no reason for him to. But I wanted to share this little story just to say that I'm proud of him because I think he did a very nice thing. He texted me yesterday and was like, hey, do you have any of those barbell pad things? And I'm like, yeah, I have quite a few. And he's like, I'm at the gym and I see this girl and she's using her sweatshirt to do the barbell hip thrust, and I know that that has to hurt so much. Like, do you have an extra, and can I please have it so I can give it to her? And I was like, of course. I have so many that come from upper, and I have some more coming today, actually, which I'll share with you guys on Instagram. But I was like, yeah, do I really need like my blue barbell pad, or can I give it to somebody who is using their freaking sweatshirt, which I know just has to kill their hip bones? So I gave one to my dad. I'm kind of curious, like I would like a little follow-up story from him on like her reaction when he gives it to her, but he said that he went up to her and was like, hey, I don't mean to bother you, which I'm like, at first I'm like, oh my God, Dad, like, don't go up to girls in the gym. I've talked about this. But he said he went over it in a good way. It was like, I can't help but notice you're using your sweatshirt. My daughter, like, works with this company and they make barbell pads, and I know she has a lot at home. Like, if she has an extra, like, would you be okay if I gave it to you to use instead? And the girl was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, that's so kind. So hopefully, I was like kind of joking with him yesterday, but I was like, hopefully she's not uncomfortable and wasn't just saying, yeah, okay, like, please get out of my face, like I have done to people before. But even if she was, either way, this girl just scored, because these barbell pads are nice and definitely nicer than using your freaking sweatshirt, which is like, makes my hip bones hurt talking about it. Oh my God. But I wanted to share that because I just thought it was a really nice thing that he did. And I'm like, I'm all for too, like, I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a way that doesn't make me seem like above anyone else. But I like to like be encouraging, I guess, or be like a light of hope and like comfortability to someone who's new in the gym, because as a girl, I know how intimidating it can be to get in there and feel like you don't know what you're doing, or like get really overwhelmed with all the products and accessories and stuff that's out there. So, girl to girl, if I can like let you borrow, like I let some people borrow my barbell pad, like I'll just give it to them in the gym, because I'm like, don't use the crappy foam one, use this one. I don't know. I think that like extending like a friendly olive branch, as long as you do it in like a friendly, non-creepy way, we don't need to get back into that conversation again. It's nice. It's nice having someone that you can like going into the gym, a place that can be very intimidating for a lot of people, and seeing like a familiar face and being like, oh, that person was really nice to me. Like I'm comfortable around that person. So props to my dad. You did a very nice thing. And that's it for that, because I don't need to gas him up too much. But other than that, oh my God. Like I said, guys, I had a lot to talk about. I was considering going over my 5 favorite Christmas songs with you guys this week, and then I never made the list. So I'm not going to do that. Well, I'll give you my number one. I don't know what my number one favorite Christmas song is, but you know what? You know what I'll say? Have you guys ever heard of the song The Christmas Shoes? If you haven't, like, pause this podcast, go listen to it, and then come back. This song is probably one of my favorite Christmas songs, and a lot of people don't know it, because it is a story, and it's a heartbreaking, gut-wrenching one. And apparently a lot of people don't know what this song is. During our Secret Santa last week, Tamara, my friend at work, who you've heard me say her name a million times, looked at me and was like, you know the song The Christmas Shoes? And I was like, dude, yes, I know the song The Christmas Shoes. And she was like, nobody else in this room has ever heard that song. And I'd look around and everyone's like, yeah, never heard that song. I heard this used to make me cry silently in the back of like my mom's minivan on Christmas Eve when I was a kid. I'm like, I can't believe that so many people haven't heard this song. Let me give you a little breakdown, and then I'll go into my little part 2 here. So I want you guys to listen to the song, but basically in a short version, the song is about some like grumpy man, like grown man who's just by himself, like on Christmas Eve, like trying to get the last of his presents. Like he's not really hyped for the holidays. And he sees this kid in front of him in line. And the kid's like dirty and like has old clothes and stuff. And he takes like change out of his pockets. And he's like, sir, I want to buy these shoes for my mama, please. I'm just going to go over the chorus. So he says, sir, I want to buy these shoes for my mama, please. It's Christmas Eve and these shoes are just her style. Wait, now I'm forgetting the rest. Oh, and then he says, can you hurry, please? Daddy says there's not much time. You see, she's been sick for quite a while, and I know these shoes will make her smile, and I want her to look beautiful if Mama meets Jesus tonight. A moment of silence. How sad is the thought of that? A tiny kid with change. And by the way, he doesn't have enough change, so the guy telling the story pays for the shoes. But this guy he's buying his mom like one last Christmas gift because he wants her to look beautiful if this is her last day, if she meets Jesus tonight. And that just really makes me sad. Really does. And I bet for like a lot of you guys, it can really touch a sensitive place in your heart. So this song has stuck with me for my whole life. I took a creative writing class in college. It was like my sophomore year or something. And we had to write a short story. And it had to be like 3 pages or something. So I wrote a story based on that. I literally wrote a story based on that song. I forget what the story was, but it was something about a guy in the grocery store trying to get food to like for a meal on Christmas, and he doesn't see his family. He has no interest. Like he stopped talking to them for a while, and he sees like someone who's getting something for their parent because their parent is like dying, blah, blah, blah. And it makes the main character realize at the end, like, he's like, I'm going to call my mom and like wish her a Merry Christmas and stuff. My creative writing teacher ate that shit up. She wrote me like a novel on the back of my paper when she graded it and was like, this is like next level writing. You should really consider this as a career path. Like, never stop writing. I want you to take more of my classes, blah, 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 which like, I'll take some credit. You know, the story was based on something else, but isn't like everything these days? So that's just my little shining star moment. But seriously, that song has got to be in like my top 3 Christmas songs. It doesn't get played that often. So it's like a hidden gem too. And holy fuck, it is sad. It is sad. So go listen. The Christmas Shoes by New Song. I think New Song's the name. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I'll say about Christmas. I've been watching a lot of TV this past week, and this is important, and I wanted to bring it up actually, not just to go on about what TV I've been watching, but I want to take a little dive into talking about the Meghan and Harry documentary, and kind of tie that into like a little discussion on mental health. So I'll get into that in a few minutes. Other than that, I watched The White Lotus season 1. Pretty good. A little fucked up. The last episode was like, or was it the last? Yeah, it was the last episode. It was like kind of fucked up. I'm not going to give anything away. Anytime I see Jennifer Coolidge, she cracks me up. One of the guys was the intern from The Office that looked like Jim, but like wasn't Jim. You know what I'm talking about? And he like dresses up like Jim for Halloween. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about if you watch The Office. But star-studded cast. Alexander Daddario, phenomenal. And now I need to watch The White Lotus season 2. And I've heard all mediocre things about it, but I want to be in on like the talk. So I'm watching that. I finished Meghan and Harry within a day and a half. I flew through that disgustingly fast. I finished In the Dark this past week. The first season of In the Dark was the best. It got a little like far-fetched, and by the end, like I was kind of like, oh my god, I'm so sick of these characters. But I had to keep watching it until the end, you know? But I just want to I just want to wring Murphy Mason's neck, whatever. So that's the TV I've been watching. I would recommend The White Lotus. I'm trying to think. Is there anything I'm missing? Well, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, too. I've been keeping up with that, but that's not important. Anyway, packed episode. I'm going to be talking about what I eat in a day and a very important message with that. And then I have a really fun interview with Tayler Stevenson over in Canada later on in this episode. But without further ado, let's get started with the Meghan and Harry documentary and a little talk on mental health. All right, so the Meghan and Harry documentary has been really popping off on the charts this week. It is on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, it's I think it's the top 10 on Netflix right now. It was juicy. It was juicy for a lot of different reasons. First of all, I'm sorry if I have anybody in the UK listening, but from an American standpoint at least, and after watching this documentary, the royal family's fucked up. That's the only way I can say it, is they're fucked up. The documentary, I'm not really going to get into all the details because you can just watch it. It's short, 6 episodes. But it talks it's Meghan and Harry's story of how they met, how things started to go wrong, and why they decided to pull away from the royal family and get rid of their titles and all that stuff. So it had to do... I think part of it, how it was explained, had to do with a little bit of racism. It was very controversial that Meghan was mixed and that she'd been married and divorced before and that she was American, all that kind of stuff. And she wasn't made to feel very comfortable about being half Black, which I kind of resonate, with what she was saying in the documentary, too. Because it's people pick on this little, this part of you. And it's okay, but that's not even all of me. You know, me being half white and half Asian, her being half white and half Black. She said growing up, it was I didn't really belong in any group because the white people are oh, well, you're not fully white. And then the Black people are oh, well, you're not fully Black. And then vice versa. It's people pick on you or act racist towards you for being, let's say, Black. And she's okay, but I'm only half too. So it's not my whole identity. Although it is a big part of it. So I kind of resonated with what she was saying there. I don't like it when people will see me and make an Asian joke or something like that. And I'm you guys know, there's other parts to me as well. You know, there's more to a person than just what ethnicity their background is, which is a whole nother story, but that was something that I felt to be really relatable. But anyway, they essentially bullied Meghan into the point where she said to her mother, I don't want to live anymore. And that's sad on its own. You know, it's we as people need to recognize when our actions are passed on. That's not the way I'm trying to phrase it. Let's say what we do affects more people than just us. So you might not realize, or you might be, or maybe you do realize what I'm saying is going to have a bad effect on someone. But when somebody gets to a point, I don't care. I know that there was a lot of hatred, from the family to Meghan and Harry, and there was the pot was very stirred. There was a lot of things going on, and obviously the waters were not kind and friendly. But when somebody admits and says, I don't want to live anymore, you need to drop the playing cards and think about the bigger picture here. And to me, that is that's just hate. honestly. Like, I was going to say it's racism, but it is just hate. If you're, like, if you know that somebody that you've been bullying and targeting wants to commit suicide, and you don't even flinch, you just keep on harassing her, that is hate. I don't care what you've done to me, what you've done to, say, my family. I am never going to be okay with somebody killing themselves. It's not, I can't even get it out into words because of how, like, I have, like, the goosebumps right now just thinking about the fact that this family actually was okay with it. And not only that, but Meghan had voiced to them saying, my mental health is suffering, like, I am feeling suicidal, I would like to get help. And they denied her of help. She was not allowed to seek guidance. She was not allowed to see a therapist. She wasn't allowed to have a psychiatrist. She was completely left to her own devices to just suffer. And I just can't wrap my mind around it. She's lucky enough to have, like, I don't know, I guess that's just the difference between America and the UK. You know, for us, it's like we're free. You know, it's like I have health insurance. Like, I have the privilege of going to use a therapist or like a health service. But over there, even in the royal family, she's told what she can and can't do. And that just, like, really blows my mind. That just really, I can't wrap my head around the fact that it's up to, like, the queen. Like, the queen gets to decide what color I wear, if I can seek, like, help, if I can see a doctor. And I went, like, most of my life, honestly, up until, like, the whole Harry and Meghan stuff, thinking, like, well, Queen Elizabeth, she's so cute, and she's so old, and, like, I don't know, I thought Princess Kate was very beautiful, and I was just like, oh my God, like, there's an actual king and queen still, and princes and princesses, like, it's really cool that kind of, like, that's the kind of stuff that kids read in fairy tales. They don't tell you in fairy tales that basically the queen gets to decide whether you live or not when it comes down to it, you know? They don't tell you, like, the queen, I don't know. I mean, I guess you see it in some fairy tales, you know, it's like royalties and everything, you know, there's a lot of restrictions and whatnot, but God, I wanted to talk about it because if you've watched a documentary and you didn't see anything wrong with that, I just want you to rewind and think about it. You guys know that I'm a very, very big advocate for mental health and using the resources available to you. And I just can't fathom this idea that they, one, bullied her into feeling like she needed to not be on this earth anymore, which unfortunately does still happen. And then two, when they realize, like, oh, like, wait, this is bad. Like, what we say, like, might actually make her take her own life. They didn't bat an eye. They were like, oh, well, she goes. And that's just sickening. And I also wanted to bring it up just because I think it's, like, a nice reminder to have every once in a while that your words and your actions really, really go far. You might say something as a joke. You might, like, joke, like, think you're joking around or not really mean something, or you might fly off the handle and say something mean to a friend or whatnot. And just because those words or actions don't negatively affect you doesn't mean that they're going to have that same effect on someone else, you know? You don't know what a person's past trauma looks like. You don't know what their mental state looks like. You don't know how their brain works, and you don't know what triggers them, you know? So something that you say could be just like a mean joke to me, but that could be, like, something that pushes me over the edge, you know? And there's only so much a person can take until they pop. And I'm sick of seeing it happen. And I just don't think that it's right that there's people that don't see wrong in that. So obviously there's nothing that I can really do to change the way that the royal family views mental health and depression and all that kind of stuff. But what I can do is have a little serious sit down and talk with you guys about how it's really wrong. And just a little reminder, because I think we all need to be reminded, I'm not immune? Like, I'm not an exception. I'm not an exception to this. We all need to be reminded every once in a while that little things that we say can have a very, very big effect. Not saying we can never joke around, it's like we get in fights and stuff, but just be conscious of it. All right, enough with the little Debbie Downers and the little sad tones. Let's get into some weekly highlights and kind of pick things up a little bit here. So I was trying to think, and that's why I like to do my weekly highlights every week, because something like phenomenal and life-changing doesn't have to happen every week, but it's still like a good practice to sit yourself down and just positive energy. Think about what's going on and what you have to be thankful for or what you're proud of. So this week, my non-health and fitness related highlight was that I went to SantaCon with my friends. It was fun. I've been hating on day drinking since I left college. Honestly, I'm good with not really drinking that much at all anymore. Don't get me wrong, I still love to go out and I will at any opportunity, but it doesn't make me feel awesome and I don't need that. But anyway, I think day drinking actually might work out better for me, because then the hangover hits at 5 p.m. and then my Sunday's not shot. So I don't really want to go too much into depth about all that stuff, but I think I will do an episode maybe next week or something about the connection between alcohol and health and all that kind of stuff and what I drink when I go out. I know that that's something that you guys want to hear, so we'll talk about that in the future. But Hoboken was fun. It's always weird, going out to big spaces like Hoboken or at the shore during the summer when you see kids from you're there with kids from college, and then you see people from high school or people you just know from around your town, and it's sometimes can get very overwhelming, because as big as New Jersey feels sometimes, it's quite small. It's a small one. But yeah, I slept on my friend's couch, which was actually extremely comfortable. Stepped in a puddle on my way to my friend's couch, which was not comfortable. And then we had a nice day out in Hoboken dressed as Santa Claus. That's really it. My health and fitness related highlight though, I was able to knock out 115 on the bench press for 3 reps for multiple sets this week, which is not a PR, but it's the best that I've done in a while. I've referenced it before, but my car accident in the fall or August, I guess, really took a toll on my chest, right here. I'm pointing on YouTube, and right here. So there was a period of time where I didn't bench press. And then obviously since I stopped bench pressing, I had to work on getting some of my strength back, and I was cutting at the time, which also makes you lose a little bit of strength. So 315, oh my God. Rewind. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. 115. And will not be benching 315. 115 for 3 reps is that was my working set back when I ended my bulk in March. So I'm very happy that this early on, in December, I'm back at that place. 135 is the goal this winter. So I'm gonna work on it. I will keep you guys updated, but little personal victory for me this week. But yeah, that's a quick one, but those are the weekly highlights. All right, so this is what you guys actually came for this week. What I eat in a day. So I posted a real video, whatever, on TikTok and Instagram this week. I've told myself for a while I'm not going to post what I eat in a day because everyone just takes them like so wrongly, and they really piss me off. But me and my old roommate, we talk about this stuff a lot, and she had sent me 2 this week that were just so unhealthy that I was like, I gotta step in. And even if like 200 people see it, I need to get like my voice out there and at least stop those 200 people. The problem that I've been seeing on TikTok is that people are either severely under eating or they're not being honest about what they eat. You know, it's like, here's my breakfast, here's my lunch, here's my dinner, and then here's a little snack after dinner. And in total, if you really like stop and look at it, it adds up to like 1,200 calories when they should be eating like 2,400 calories. And that's not a good example to set for people out there, because some people do take this stuff like very seriously, which leads into my next point. Just because you see a what I eat in a day on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, and you want to look like that person, let's just say, doesn't mean that you should copy what they eat in a day. I was very specific about that in my video. I said, listen, I'm 120 pounds. Just for a reference here, you know, if you're not my weight and you're not at my activity level, you should not be eating exactly how I do. How I eat is unique to me. So this is not like a copy and paste type situation. It's a more of like, here's some inspiration, you know, this is the meals I eat if you need meal inspo. These are the snacks I like to have if you need snack inspo. Stuff like that. So I posted a video of literally every single thing that I ate in my body yesterday. And I'm going to go through it quickly, but again, just in case my point wasn't clear, I am, for reference, 125 pounds. Obviously, you guys know that I work out like 6 days a week. I'm very active. What I'm eating is unique to my body, so do not copy and paste. Am I clear? Do not copy and paste. Okay. All right. I'm gonna trust you guys. All right, let's get into it. So for breakfast, I had a Thomas bagel. I normally have like some sort of carb. And then I had 1 egg and 3 egg whites. I like to do 1 egg and 3 egg whites just because egg yolks do have a lot of cholesterol, but they are yummy. So it's a good balance between getting like the egg whites in with less cholesterol, but I still have some of that taste of the yolk. So I did that with a Thomas bagel, which has 10 grams of protein, by the way. And I put some cream cheese on top. So that was my breakfast. You know, I wanted to make sure I was getting enough protein in and some sort of carb so I could fuel up for the day, because carbs turn into energy. And I also like wanted to show that and talk about it just because like, you guys heard me right. No, I had a bagel, and I had a bagel today too. You know, people tend to think like bagels the enemy, pasta the enemy. Carbs are not the enemy. Having only carbs and no protein and no healthy fat, that could be not beneficial. Having bagels and eating like way overeating for a day, that could be not beneficial. And same thing as having a bagel and then not eating much for the rest of the day. Harmful as well. So anyway, that was my breakfast, and normally that carries me over until lunch. For lunch yesterday, I had a sandwich. I had to use a fancy kind of bread because we ran out of the regular bread at my house, but don't worry. We got it. I like honey wheat, by the way. But I had boar's head turkey breast, half an avocado, and some light mayonnaise. That was a good sandwich. And then I put some pretzels on the side because you guys know my little salt deal issue thing. And I need to be getting salt in at every meal. So that was lunch, and then I got a little hungry about like an hour and a half later. So I snacked on some Smart Sweets because I wanted something like, I was hungry and also like I wanted something to just like chew on too and like last longer. So I had the Smart Sweets sour watermelons. Phenomenal. Also, the Smart Sweets are filled with fiber, so they keep you full for quite a long time. And then a little bit later on in the afternoon, I had snack number 2. I'm not buying it when these people post what I eat in a day, and there's no snacks in there. I'm like, there's no fucking way that you're only having one snack in a day. No, snacks are my favorite. My meals, like now my stomach is adjusted. First of all, I can't really eat big meals. I just get full easily. But say I didn't, I would make my meals a little bit smaller on purpose just so I could eat my snacks because I enjoy them. I do. So I'm not buying this no snack shit. Anyway, my second snack of the day, I had a Greek yogurt, but I made it fun. So I had honey granola in it, the Honey Bunches of Oats, that brand. It was all right. I've had better. I really had high hopes for this granola, and I should have got the Nature Valley. Anyway, it had granola in it, some raspberries, blueberries, and a drizzle of honey. And now I'm hungry. Now I think I'm going to go eat one after I'm done recording this. Anyway, then I had to do some personal training before I could go to the gym myself, so some time passed. And then as a little pre-workout snack, I had a Misfits bar. I had the chocolate orange. I was very skeptical about chocolate orange. I love orange, so I had to try it out and I had to get a pack. For those who don't know, Misfits is the protein bar brand that I kind of work with, but they're vegan and gluten-free. And because they're made in the UK and there's a bunch of laws there about what chemicals cannot be in your foods, they're a lot healthier. So I love Misfits. It's such a good way to get in protein. I had the chocolate orange and it was really good, I'll say. The outside was like a milk chocolate, like those little crunchies in the top too, so it tasted almost like a crunch bar. And then the orange is like a jam, and it tastes like a fresh picked orange, you know? It doesn't taste like artificial flavored orange stuff, you know? It tasted like the goddamn fruit. And it was delicious. So that was my pre-workout snack. And then I came home from the gym and had a very exciting dinner that I've been waiting to tell you guys about this. So I looked up, you guys know I love the Gathered Nutrition blog. Mia Swinehart or something, that's her name. But that website has phenomenal recipes. So I saw that she had a dairy-free queso. And I said, I'm up for the challenge. How hard can it be? Not hard at all, I'll tell you that. I made nachos this week for my meal prep. And whoever said that healthy eating has to be boring clearly has never tried to make healthy nachos. I love Mexican food. I especially love nachos. I love tortilla chips. I love everything in that realm. And you know, like I take care of my health, obviously, and I am careful about what I put in my body. And that doesn't mean that I can't enjoy some nachos, okay? So my mom recently has been getting this brand from Aldi. So I asked her to get it for me for this week. But they're multi-grain tortilla chips. So I don't know if they're fried though. Like, cause you know how tortilla chips are like deep fried? They might be, but whatever. But they're multi-grain, so you know, it's just a healthier version of a carb. And then I shredded chicken breast, really easy. You can get a rotisserie chicken, but I wanted to season mine with chili lime seasoning from Trader Joe's, by the way. So I just cooked chicken like halfway, and then I let it sit in chicken broth for a little while till it turns salt. Then you just take 2 forks and you just kind of scrub. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see, but you kind of just pull the chicken apart with 2 forks. and it makes shredded chicken. So I put that on top, then the queso, and then some like diced up tomatoes and peppers. But let me dive into this queso, okay? I made a queso. You guys are going to cringe, but I made a queso with cashews instead of cheese. And I know what that sounds like, okay? I was skeptical. I was like, okay, so it might be like the same color. It might be the same consistency, but I'm going to expect this to taste like queso cheese, and it's going to taste like a nut. And I'm not going to like it, but let's just try it. Guys, before I go any further, phenomenal. 11 out of 10. I don't even have words to describe like how impressed I was with this queso and how it turned out. I just like really, really need you guys to try it, please. Also because of the whole cashew thing, like I need to change that in your mind for you. So anyway, I took a cup of cashews and I boiled water, and then I let them soak in the boiling water for an hour. So they're all nice and soft. And you put those in a blender I did a cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, which gives it a little bit of a cheesy flavor. Makes sense. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder. Did I say almond milk already? I think I did. Jalapenos. I did like a third of a cup of jalapenos. What else did I do? Salt. Is that it? Yeah, okay, that's it. I blended that all up, and then it comes out like nice and creamy texture because of the cashews, which I guess is their purpose. And then I added in like a half a cup of they sell them at the store. It's like no salt added, diced tomatoes and peppers. So I mixed that in afterwards. So good. So fucking good. I made my dad try it because he was all like, man, queso's cheese. This isn't queso. I made him try it. And he was like, holy fuck. You would not know that there's no cheese in that. And I said, Dad, I know. That's why I made you try it. So if you are like vegan or lactose intolerant, definitely recommend trying it out. And if you're not, I would still recommend trying it out just because, it's like queso essentially is melted cheese. When I worked at a burrito place, we would make our queso by just melting pepper jack. But 1, it takes a really long time. 2, if you don't do that and you just buy queso at the store, like, that there's extra shit in there that you just don't need. And it's just a much healthier version. So plus you get a little bit of the apple cider vinegar in there as well, which is good for your body. So 11 out of 10 for this queso. I'm literally begging you guys with every bone in my body to please try this queso and then get back to me. Don't just try it and not get back to me. Try it and then affirm. Please let me know that you loved it. Thank you. But yeah, that was dinner. And then after dinner, I had a nice big bowl of popcorn. I have popcorn every single night because it's my favorite snack and I look forward to it. And then I had some Teddy Grahams. I would say I had probably about 30 servings, and I just kept refilling my bowl over time. But I forgot Teddy Grahams existed for a really long time. And then I saw them one day and was like, oh, I should get these. And we got them, and I put one in my mouth and said, yeah, I'm not going back. These are going to have to stay. So yeah, that's basically what I ate in a day. I typically have 2 or 3 snacks in between lunch and dinner and 2 and 3 snacks after dinner. Don't believe, if you see a what I eat in a day video and there's only one fucking snack in there, don't buy into that bullshit. We're skeptical. Our little sleuth glasses are on. I'm not buying that shit at all. But just so you remember too, like I said, not a copy and paste. This is just some inspiration for you guys to show you what I'm eating. Maybe you can take something from it, especially the queso recipe, and find ways to incorporate it into your own eating routine. Or maybe this was a good wake-up call for you that it's like, oh crap, I'm not eating enough, or I am eating way too much. But in whatever way it was helpful, take what you will from it, as long as you don't copy and paste, and get to cooking. Get to cooking. It's time to get into some questions for the week, but my neighbor just got home, I guess. I don't know. There were these two kids that lived next door to me, and one moved out, and he comes home every once in a while, but his car is, like, really fucking loud. It's cool. Like, he's got a nice Jeep that's all, like, decked out, and it's got all this, like, cool shit on it. But it's really loud. So if you guys are hearing that, I apologize, but it's just, it is what it is, you know? One day we'll have a studio, but today is not that day. But anyway, I got a good, I got some good questions. I haven't read them before, so I'm looking at them now, and some of them are making me laugh. One of them is, please make YouTube videos. Like, sir, I am. But I got a lot of them, so let's dive into questions for the week. Again, I post a questions poll every single Monday on my Instagram story, so you can put your questions there. I got some DMs this week for Instagram, or on Instagram for questions, so you can send me a DM. You can leave them in the podcast reviews. Contact me. That's it. Okay. What are your New Year's goals? How to drink and go out while cutting? So that's like a long question for me to answer during this segment, but I did say earlier in the episode that I think that's going to be my next episode. I'm going to talk more about alcohol and drinking, just as like a short tip now. I guess like my short tip would be like, if you're going to get a mixed drink, like seltzer water is the best way to go. And just be mindful of like quantity, you know, how much are you eating throughout the day? You know, how much are you eating when you're drunk? That kind of stuff. Fun, healthy recipe. Gave you guys the queso one in the last segment, so save my breath there. How to find energy. So obviously getting enough sleep every night is going to be the best way to get enough energy and make sure that your body is properly well rested. But if you are getting enough sleep during the night and you're still not you're not finding yourself very energized throughout the day, make sure you're getting enough carbs in. You know, caffeine is kind of like sugar, where it's like you get like really high and like you're really in, and then like you're really out and like really low. Carbs turn into energy in our body. So if you find yourself constantly tired, even though you sleep a healthy amount, check if you're getting enough carbs in for your body. This one made me laugh. How you got that ass look real? Well, thank you. My ass is real. And eating protein and going to the gym. That's all I'll say about that. Do you take suggestions on guests for your podcast? Absolutely. If you guys have somebody that you want to come on the podcast, I should have mentioned this before, I just never did. Feel free to like comment, shoot me a DM, say whatever. I'm like, obviously I want this to be beneficial for you guys and for you guys to be interested. So if there's somebody that you want to see on the podcast, fire away. Next question. Could I not be seeing results because I'm doing too many sets and reps each gym sesh? Yes. So you don't want to overwork your body and overtire your body. If you're doing too much, then your muscles are going to get very tired. It's going to be harder for them to recover, and therefore they're going to grow at a very delayed pace. So I typically stick to around like 4 to 5 sets, like 5 different groups of exercises. They say like you don't really want to be doing more than 100, what they say, 90 minutes, I think, of, I don't know, I forget. Now I'm forgetting. The point is you don't want to work out strength training wise for too long. Like I think it's like they recommend like an hour or an hour and a half, I forget. Because there comes to a point where your muscles are going to be too tired and it's going to be harder for them to recover. So short answer, yes. The sets and reps that you do really, really does matter. And I know that it's, especially when we're new in the gym, it's like we want to do everything and we want to go like so hard so we see results, but it's actually, it could be holding us back. So that's a very good question. How many fit influencers are wearing bum pads now? Feels like a lot of suspicious glutes, definitely not implying you. Okay, good, because my cheeks are real. I don't know, honestly. I've never really heard of anyone using it, so I'm not sure. Next question. Do you feel like guys or girls are more confident generally and now in this generation? I think guys, and I can't and I'm saying that this is just my personal opinion. I don't think it's there's no factual backup to it. One, I don't know what it's like to be a guy. I can't get into a guy's brain. I can't live a day as a boy. I can live a day as a girl. In fact, I do it every day. Girls tend to come across a lot more confident than they really are because of how insecure they are. I'm not saying that everybody does, but especially on social media, it's I've been guilty. I did it a lot when I was younger, it's you post a lot of selfies and stuff, not because you think you necessarily look good or just to be carefree, but it's I'm nervous what a lot of people think about me. Let me put this out there so people think I'm pretty type of thing, or faking it till you make it. And you know what? I'm not necessarily whatever you got to do to make yourself feel confident, I'm all for. I don't who am I to judge? But I think that struggling with body image, especially on social media now and stuff, is just something that girls have always been hit really hard with. And like I said, I don't know what it's like for guys, but I think that it could come across maybe that more girls seem very confident, but social media, it's quite a disguise. Next question. During each gym session, do you focus on one body area or mix it up? I mix it up. I focus on one body area, sorry. Your splits and how you work out can change based on how many times you go to the gym a week, so you're hitting everything. I split up my workouts so I hit each body part at least once a week in a way that really targets each one. So, for example, on my leg days, Monday I focus on quads, Thursday I focus on hamstrings. I find that it allows me to put more focus into that muscle and really really just put more focus on it and dive into it. I personally have found better results for myself when I isolate the muscle groups and really focus on them. Last question. I'm the worst for picking at food during the day between meals. How do I stop? I feel that's a question that a food therapist would be a lot more qualified to answer. But I do, like I said, I'm a snacker, and I definitely had that problem where I would just go into the snack drawer and be like, oh, it's just one pretzel. And then the next thing I know, I've actually eaten 2 servings of pretzels. Drinking water helps, keeping your water bottle by you. It'll help keep you full. Planning out what you're going to eat in advance kind of helps too, if you could do so healthily, just so you know, okay, this is what I'm eating today. Chewing gum can also help. I think it also, if you have meals with a good amount of healthy fat in them, they should fill you up longer, so you don't really want to snack, Also working, when I go to work, I only bring the snacks that I know I'm going to eat. I'm not bringing a whole bag of pretzels with me. I portion it out. So like I said, I think a food therapist would probably give you a better, a more educational response on that, but those are just my little tips. And with that being said, I guess that sums it up for the... Wow, I just turned into I just had a little country accent going on there. That just about sums it up. That's not even... I don't know what it was. Anyway, I'm just gonna talk like my normal self. That sums up this week's question segment. Like I said, look out for new week. Oh wait, no it doesn't. Hold on, I lied. I forgot about the one in my DM, and I just told this girl I would answer it. Okay, yeah, this girl literally DM'd me a few minutes ago when I was recording this, so let me pull it up because I almost forgot. Hey Liz, I have a question. I often struggle to keep my heartbeat high when I train upper body. Any suggestions to improve that? First of all, that's very normal. So my upper body, like heart rate is a lot lower than when I do lower body. It's just like lower body. First of all, I'm able to lift heavier. It's like the movements like lunges and squats, you know, it's like I'm going up and down and your heart rate naturally will just go higher. So that's not like a red flag. That's okay. But if you are looking for ways to increase your heart rate, I would recommend throwing in some supersets, you know, or it's a little circuit style stuff. So supersets are 2 exercises that are back to back without any rest. And that rest period, like that absence of a rest period, helps to keep the heart rate up for a little longer while you do the 2 exercises and then rest after. So that's one recommendation for getting heart rate up. Caffeine gets your heart rate up too. That's not really the healthiest answer though. And then just watch your rest times as well, you know. With upper body, I take about 45 seconds to a minute. Yeah, rest breaks, I don't tend to go over a minute because I don't want my heart rate to drop too low because then I got to build it up again, you know. So those are my suggestions. But your heart rate being lower than, or on upper body days than it is on leg days is very normal. No red flags. All's as it should be. All right, everyone, that pretty much wraps up this week's episode of Confessions of a Gym Rat. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lifts with Liz. Song suggestion. So my song suggestion for this week, I'm going with one more Christmas song. I have to, because I'm recording this and Christmas hasn't happened yet. So my song suggestion is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but the Bruce Springsteen version. If you're from Jersey and you haven't heard that, then shame on you and don't tell anyone that. But if you haven't heard it, it's a feel-good classic. It's a live recording. Feels like your old man's just singing you and really hits home. So that's my song suggestion of the week. Like I said, give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And I'll see you next time.